boys and girls. I'm so excited to be with you today. I am coming to you from my kitchen at my house. Now, my kindergartners have done some baking with me, and at Christmas they got to wear this hat, so I thought it would be kind of fun if I was the chef today. I am going to show you how to make crepes. Now, the first direction is you have to have an adult with you. It can be an aunt or an uncle, a grandma or grandpa, but you need an adult to help you with the ingredients and with the hot cooktop. So, no doing this on your own. You are not supposed to be all by yourself. So with that, I'm going to show you your ingredients, and then we will mix them up, and then I'll move to the cooktop and show you how to make your crepes. So first, you will need half a cup of water, 4 tablespoons of butter, a quarter teaspoon of salt, 3 eggs, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of flour. When you're done with the crepes, you can put anything on your crepes. There's endless possibilities, and we will do that when we're all done. But for now, let's get mixing. You're going to take the half a cup of water and pour it into the bowl. Take your 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Do not use more than 4 tablespoons or else the crepes get really mushy in the pan. So 4 tablespoons of melted butter into the water. Add your quarter teaspoon of salt. Take your whisk or your fork, whichever works better for you. I'll just use the fork for this. Mix it up. And then I'm going to add my 3 eggs. Mix them up until the eggs have disappeared as far as the yolk. Add your 4 tablespoons of sugar. Now, with the flour and the milk, you don't want to just dump the flour all at once, because you will have a big blob inside your bowl. So you want to add about half of the milk and half of the flour at a time. So I'm going to add 1 cup of milk, just guess, and about 1 cup of flour. I'm still going to use my fork. For me, it's a little easier than the whisk, because the whisk gets all full of the flour mixture until I'm all done, and then I'll use the whisk at the end to get the lumps out. So now I'm going to add the other cup of milk and the other cup of flour. Once I get the flour in there so it doesn't make a flour mess all over the counter, I will then take the whisk to get the lumps out. So as you see on my fork, it's kind of lumpy. You don't want to have your batter full of lumps, because when you go to pour it in the pan, your crepe will look like a pile of hills. So I'm going to put that in there, and now I'm going to whip it up. Only takes about 30 seconds to get as smooth as you can, and this is where you might need an adult. You can do all the dumping and some of the stirring, but once you get the flour in here, you really want it to be smooth, and you probably need a mom or a dad to help you get it smoothed out with a whisk, because your arms aren't strong enough or maybe tall enough to reach the bowl. So this is what you want it to look like. You want it smooth. There are no lumps. It's pretty smooth. All right. The last step is we are going to move to the cooktop. Now, I have a special pan that makes my crepes. And my pan, it plugs in. It comes with this flat flipper so it goes under to flip the crepe to the other side. I am going to try using a spatula that's a small spatula to get under the crepe to flip it over. Now, you don't want to cook them so that the edges are super dark. You just kind of want to get it lightly brown, and you can kind of lift up one side and then peek to see what the cook side is looking like, but it's just lightly brown, just lightly brown. And then flip it over, and then you can just slide it onto a plate. So I want to turn my cooktop on. Oh, before I do that, if you have a pan that's newer, this is Teflon. Teflon's a smooth pan, so you can hear it. I don't always spray my pan because there's butter in the crepe that I don't need any more spray. But if you have a pan that's an older pan or it's not a really smooth pan, you're going to want to get some kind of spray to spray it on the pan. So I'm going to try it without, and we'll see how it goes. I use about a half a cup of batter on my electric skillet that I have for my crepes. About the same amount in your fry pan. If it's a smaller fry pan, you will want to use less batter. You don't want the crepe really thick. It needs to be pretty thin. If you've ever had lefse, it's thin like lefse. So we will wait for this to heat up. I have it on medium heat, and I usually can take a spoon and I just put a little spoon dab on the pan, and it's not hot enough. It just kind of sits there. So we'll just wait one more second. So as you can see, while we're waiting for the pan, it's pretty easy to mix up the ingredients. Everybody should have some kind of margarine or butter in their house. Most people have milk, flour, and sugar and salt. So it should be a simple task to be able to have mom and dad find that stuff in your house. The next thing would be to have a pan and to be able to cook. So now let's try it. So I'm just going to go right into here, and I'm going to scoop up my half a cup. I'm going to do a little less than a half just because I haven't done it with a pan on the cooktop for a long time, and I'm not quite sure. My video person, do you want to zoom in so they can see the pan too? All right, here goes. When I pour it in, I scrape the inside of the bowl, and then I kind of spread it out in the pan. I don't even need to really touch anything, but you can tell how thin it looks. And I'm going to turn the heat down just a little because I don't want it to cook super fast. And then I wait about 30 seconds. And you can see that the edges are starting to get a different color than the center, where it's a little thicker and it's not quite as done. Almost there. Another 30 seconds. So as far as my kindergarten students, I know that there are quite a few of you that cook and crack eggs with your parents. I hope by you watching this that by the weekend, there are some of you or somebody that tries to make the crepe recipe. I want to hear all about it. I want to hear what you put on your crepes, how they tasted. All right. Still not quite there. Now, when we get to the ingredients, there are many different things that you can put on your crepes. My kids typically like syrup, chocolate chips, Nutella. I like, and they like whipped cream. And I usually make homemade whipped cream. But you can get the whipped cream that's in a can. I personally like fruit on my crepe with a little bit of turkey bacon or some kind of turkey sausage. I don't like the chocolate, so that's just a personal choice. I've seen people put cheese and meat like a sandwich. It really all depends on what your taste buds like. The possibilities are endless. All right, so this is pretty good. Now, if you have a really slick pan, you might be able to just lift it and flip it. My boys sometimes can take the pan and they can flip it, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want it to land on the floor. So if you can see, it's lightly, I would even do a little lighter than that. But now we're going to wait just a second. I'll go get a plate. And then we will go make our crepe. All right, I think this side is brown. So I'm just gonna lightly roll it out, turn off the cooktop. Now I'm gonna move over. And I'll add my berries. I could add my syrup, my peanut butter, Nutella. Here is the can of whipped cream. Here is whipping cream if you want to make your own. So you would pour this into the mixer. You would turn it on high, and it would go for about 2-3 minutes. When you are done, I'm going to show you in the bottom here, the whipped cream should make peaks. Makes like little hills in the whipped cream. Then all you need to do is fold in some sugar. So this isn't a full container of whipping cream. It was only about a half of a cup in there. So then you add sugar to taste and a little bit of vanilla. Oops, I got kind of a lot. I'm gonna kind of fold it in so you don't stir really hard or you ruin the whipped cream. You just fold in the sugar and the vanilla. And then take some of the whipped cream, put it on your crepe, take some berries, and then you just fold it up. And like I said, my boys pile all the chocolate chips and the Nutella and everything else, and then they would pour a little bit of syrup on top. Now my kids would also take a little bit more whipped cream and they would stick more whipped cream on top. So that is a very easy recipe that you can do right at home. Your crepe recipe. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Thank you.